This time, let's draw a sunrise or a sunset. You have a good idea of color theory now, but we've yet to apply it. We've done indoor stuff enough, so let's practice this on landscape outdoors. One of my favorite landscape paintings to show the power of complements and contrasts is a sunrise. So I'm going to make a sunrise picture like this one. Of course, depending on its direction, it could just as easily be a sunset. As landscapes go, sunrises and sunsets are the most dramatic and the easiest to paint. It turns out most sunrise and sunsets have several common parts that you can look for. First is the horizon line, which separates the bottom part from the sky. Below the horizon is the ground. The ground is often backlit or still in darkness as the sky begins to light up. Use dark colors here to set the scene for the light near the horizon. Directly above the horizon, I'll call the orange zone. The orange and yellow light from the sun fills this area, hitting particles in the atmosphere. These colors appear due to water particles, pollution, or volcanic ash, but all show the red, orange, or yellow light of the sun. You keep full saturation here, but change hue for red being dark and yellow being light. Above the orange zone is the blue zone or blue sky. The most boring sunrises and sunsets transition directly from orange to blue. Of course, there's the sun. If below the horizon line, light will beam up. If there are also clouds, the bottom of the cloud will show the color of the sun. If the sun is at the horizon or above the horizon, and you have water in your ground zone, you may see sun reflections on the water. Finally, there are foreground objects. I'm considering anything in front of the sun a foreground object. Usually, they're backlit by the sun, so you can paint a silhouette and not have to worry about volume. I've loaded one of the photos from the webpage as a reference, and now I'll decide on colors. Once you start working on the color disc, you're a lot less restricted with your color choices. There's a straightforward rule of color. Find colors that contrast with each other. Find hues on opposite sides of the wheel, and if you are close in hue, change the brightness and saturation to make them different. So I'm going to start here with an orange, which I'll use near full saturation and brightness. A yellow, where I'll cut down the saturation a bit and pump up the brightness. And a blue-green, which is the opposite side of the color wheel from the orange for most of this. In the reference photo, I could find some reds as well. But substituting the complement of orange will make this more dramatic, and just different kinds of dark oranges will work as well. I'll use pastel for this, but go ahead if you want to use charcoal. Both will work. So let's go ahead and start this out. I'm going to start here with our good old-fashioned dark, just to mark a horizon line on this. So let's go here. I've got layer 1. I'm going to make a new layer and move the layer 1, our reference photo, up on top. So I can keep seeing it. So I'll bring down my size here. And once I do that, I can go ahead and make a horizon line. You could see on the photo here that it's pretty low in the horizon. And we got a lot of sky, so you're going to probably put something down over here. And so I got just that low bit on the horizon is all I need. And I may put a little bit more in here. I've got that mountain, and I might make the mountain a little bit more like this. I can make this a little more dramatic than what's even in the picture. And so we've got this hill in here. I can bring that up a bit and fill that in, just so that I have my ground. Okay. So there's your ground. Okay. And I can add in more mountain if I want or not. It depends on what you want to do. And so I'm just going to stitch that in like so. Okay. Now on top of that, I'm going to add the orange zone. Now the clouds are especially dark here. So I'm going to have to make a blue-green zone above the clouds and have that dark area inside the clouds. But let's start by making that orange that we need here. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to do this orange right about here. Looks good. Okay. I'm going to bring that up to somewhere around here, maybe even closer to there. And I can start just flipping in some of that color as well, like this. And keep adding in a little bit of color there. All right, now I'm going to put in some of this dark here. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to go to complement. So I'm going to click over here. And now I have a complement. I'm going to pick a dark complement. So I'll just drop down to here. And we've got a bit of an L shape here for this. So we can do something like this to start that up. And I didn't finish it here. I really need to finish in a little bit more there. It's going to be a little bit of orange in here. So I'm just going to sample my orange by holding down my finger and picking up the sampler and just pop in a little bit more orange there. And maybe we'll pep a little bit more of this. Okay. And then we have a lighter blue-green on top of that. So I'm going to go like there, maybe. And just start plugging that in as well. Okay, and now I have a basic what I want to do. Now you see I've got a bit of a triangle here. So I'm going to try to make that triangle a little bit more pronounced. So I'll go here. I'm going to dupe this. I can add some of this color on top of this. And maybe bring down my brush a little bit now. Start bringing in some of that in there. And can keep playing with that. I can even go and start using that yellow as well that I was going to talk about. So let's go over here. I'm going to make a yellow, but I'm going to get really high on the brightness and low on the saturation. So we almost get a white, like you can see in the picture. And I can just put some of that in there and maybe just tinge it up a little bit on some of these places with a little bit more yellow. A little bit more high saturation yellow in there as well. So you can do something like that. I may go into some of these oranges that I had originally. And again, I'm just picking colors here. You don't have to be as careful on some things. Once you start understanding, I'm going to be picking something over here or over here. Or you can just tap on it like that and pick up where the color is. And pick something down here. And you can see there's some cloud issues here that are doing something like this. Maybe come back up here and start working on some of the stuff up here that's a little lighter. I'll move my brush up a little bit so I can get some more fluffiness to it. And my picture's in the way here, so I'm going to go here, go to my layer 1, hit the arrow, and drag this over so I can see what I'm doing. And remember to go back to layer 2 to do that. And now I can see I've got some areas that are missing here. So I'm going to first, let's find a good solid area here. Sample some color. Fill this in. I can start filling some more darkers in here. So I'm going to take this and maybe fill in a couple of spots like so. And then take this lighter color and fill in around it as well. Okay. And you can keep working along that lines. Use a little blends in there as well. Nothing wrong with using a little blends. So we can put some blend in here. Maybe blend over here. And you get the idea. Okay, and as you can see, we've pretty much got a decent sunset already happening here, or sunrise, depending on your point of view. So that's the basic sunrise. Now, I've made others, including this one with some trees in the foreground, a sunrise over Lake Michigan, where you can see those reflections in the water as well. For depth, start with very thin lines close together and spread them out as you get towards the foreground. Your challenge this week is to make a sunrise. I have this and several other sunrise photos I've collected to use as reference. Try working with roughly the color I have here and make one of those. You know a lot about color and opaque brushes. In the next lesson, we'll move into transparent media and start playing with markers. So don't miss an episode and make sure you hit subscribe and like to get into the marker fun.